This is Jennie T Radio with Justin, Ethan, and Jono. Lots to discuss, but we can't say much. In Cobb County, we're very slow. Join us as we chat about theatre arts and more. We'll sit around and make some noise. Come on, let's hear you roar.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Jennie T Radio. I'm Ethan.
I'm Jono.
And I'm Justin. We work at the Jennie T. Anderson Theater in Marietta, Georgia.
This program will bring you weekly updates from the art centers of Cobb County Parks.
We'll share our current activities, interview renters and members of the community, and highlight the arts around the county.
This is
Jennie T Radio! Okay, and we're back. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Well, we are excited to be joined by Mary Nye Bennett and Stephanie Palamas from the Atlanta Lyric Theater, and they'll be joining us a little bit later. But first, how have your weeks been?
Pretty good. I got to go home for a little. It was my first time, venturing out of state since the pandemic.
Where's home?
Virginia.
Oh.
I got to go home. I was at the pool a lot. There's really not much to... Well, I mean, there's a lot to do. A lot of their stuff is more open than our stuff is.
I was going to ask,
Yeah,
how many people were laying out by the pool?
Well, it was like a private pool, so not too many.
Oh.
Just me and my family laying out by the private pool. Yeah. My flight there, my vacation, but then coming back.
You flew?
I flew.
What was flying?
Well, it's interesting. So I flew 2 different airlines, and for Delta, they spaced it out they had iPads, and they're like, all right, you sit there, you have to sit here, you have to sit there. Southwest, on the other hand, just took the middle seat out, so everyone, you were still directly in front of someone. But yeah, my flight back went from an hour to 7 hours. Yeah, they couldn't get the cargo thing closed on the plane, so we had to switch planes. I ended up getting back into Georgia at 2:30 a.m. and I had to work the next day at 8:30. So that was Fly Delta.
Yeah.
To Virginia.
Do it.
You look out your window and you see birds and you're like, wait a second, those birds look like my luggage.
Right. That was. But I'm happy to be back. It was fun.
How was your time away from the podcast been, you think?
It was great. I actually got to go see family too. I didn't get to go to Virginia, but I also didn't have to worry about the flight.
Okay.
I have family up in Cleveland, Georgia.
Oh.
Cleveland, Georgia, which is North Georgia. That was great. I got to see my nieces and nephew, and my brother and I shot off a bunch of fireworks, and also got some bigger fireworks for the adults who are also young men who also pretend to be adults but are immature as crap. So we got these giant things called artillery shells, and basically 2 grown men in their 30s giggling and running away from fireworks.
Okay, that's great. I did nothing but eat the entire time. We made a good 4th of July meal, and I went on a dessert binge where now my fridge is mostly full with desserts, like cakes, brownies, and stuff like that. That's generally what is in my fridge right now.
What's your favorite dessert?
I have now started to get a taste for strawberry shortcakes.
Okay.
Publix surprisingly sells some really good strawberry shortcakes in their little bakery section. They are so good because they're so light and you don't feel like, I just ate cake at the end of that.
Yeah.
It was really delicious and I don't regret anything.
Mine is the banana pops. They're like half banana, half chocolate, like fudge pops. Yeah, they're delicious.
Okay. Well, speaking of banana pops, we are welcoming Mary Nye Bennett and Stephanie Palamas, Atlanta Lyric Theater. Welcome, ladies.
Hello. Hey.
Let's jump right on into things. Mary, okay, you have had a long history of Atlanta theater. How did you get started in this profession?
I started in dance when I was 3, but I feel like every little girl almost, at least in my generation, started in dance. But what really ignited the theater passion in me, my mom went back to college in her 40s for costume design. And when she came back to Georgia, she started working at a theater and she started taking me with her. So I was 9 or 10. She started taking me with her and it for me started from a behind the scenes aspect, just helping her with costumes and helping her with props, and then eventually they would let me do some stuff backstage or run the fly or run a spotlight. And then there was one day when I was watching a production of Cabaret, and I saw the woman playing Sally Bowles, and I went, "Ooh, I want to do that. That's what I want to do." And so I started taking voice lessons in middle school.
Were you in elementary school when you saw Cabaret?
I have 4 older brothers, so
Okay.
I've seen much worse stuff
Fair.
than Cabaret.
Fair.
I started taking voice lessons in middle school, and that kind of got me in. So, I mean, really, my mom is like the main reason. And of course, my father paying for all the voice lessons. Also.
Sure. So your mom, your dad, and Sally Bowles.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. And I did get to play Sally Bowles my senior year of college, so it all kind of came full circle.
Cool. All right, Stephanie, same question. You have been working on the technical side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You've been kind of on the opposite track. Where did you get your start in technical theater?
Technical theater didn't come along until college. I actually was an actor, through high school and even in college. And then I started working in the scene shop as my job, a student assistant in the scene shop. I was like, this is fun. And got into stage management and got, kind of did all kinds of technical things in college. So then when I graduated, I knew I was like, I'm not going to be an actor. I don't have the nerve for all that auditioning and rejection and all of that you have to go through.
Yeah. Sure.
And had found a passion for backstage. So I started figuring out what I wanted to do, and it was kind of between stage management and scenic design, and I decided, let's try the scenic design thing. So I went to grad school and then came back and still did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then kind of actually through assistant designing at the Alliance is how I ended up at the Lyric, because I was working with Liz. He was like, hey, how do you feel about company management? I'm like, I don't know. Here I am.
Yeah. And now Liz is the Lyrics production manager.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, let's get into your roles in this company. So you both work for the Atlanta Lyric Theater. Mary, what is your favorite part about being an artistic director?
Woo! I would say if you look at a whole calendar season, the moments that are the most special to me are when I get to meet new people. I love looking at who signed up for an audition, and there'll be 120 names, and I love it when I don't know them. There's something very magical. I don't think there's a lot of professions where you're constantly introduced to new people, and it's not like, I'm sure a bank teller, nothing wrong with bank tellers, but I'm sure a bank teller meets new people, but they don't bare their soul. And so I'm meeting new people, 100 new people in a day, and each of those people is literally opening up, being so vulnerable, and you're getting to see the depths of a person in like 2 minutes, and it's very exciting. There's a lot of mystique, and I love giving new people opportunities.
Yeah, and the same thing could be said about your patrons too. I mean, you are bearing something to them. Theater is not like a life or death type of event. I mean, it is for artists, but for patrons, it's kind of like, it's a form of entertainment. So if they are coming and investing something like emotionally, financially in your company, that is that's a great back and forth to have, with a good connection to have with your community, and not just actors. I think that's excellent. So Stephanie, you are the company manager for the Lyric. What does that entail?
A little bit of everything. Everything from kind of managing, budgets and deadlines in the production process, contracts, dealing with the different unions we deal with, just kind of generally making sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
I like the whole design process. I mean, obviously I'm a scenic designer as well, so that's part of it too, but just kind of helping to manage and facilitate that process, and kind of helping bring those designers' visions to life, and problem solving along the way, and kind of working in that collaborative process.
Great. As of this recording, we are in between your 40th and 41st season. In the 40-year history of the Lyric, I want you to name, Mary, your favorite Lyric show that the company has ever produced, whether you were artistic director or not. And I want you to name your favorite show that you have ever performed in with the Lyric.
Okay. My favorite lyric show that I have ever seen. I actually, at the time, had zero involvement. I had never been to a lyric show. It was my first show I saw. It was Smokey Joe's Cafe at the Strand. It had a lot of people in it who I didn't know at the time who are now I'm friends with.
Yeah.
But to me, they were strangers. And it was so well done. And of course, the music of Smokey Joe's is just incredible. But it was very well done and beautiful from every aspect. The performances, the talent, the lights. That it was just such a well done. And at the time, I didn't know anything about the lyric. For that to be my first impression of the company was kind of, I would not be here in this position today if I had not seen that production of Smokey Joe's, and it had made such a effect on me.
That's great. That's great. Now, what's your favorite show that you've ever been in with the lyric?
There's going to be a tie.
Okay.
I am not going to deny that I have been unbelievably blessed in this city with the roles that I've been afforded to play. I almost don't have a bucket list. And that's really, really very lucky. But there are two roles in particular that kind of stretched what I thought my capabilities were. Even somebody who's taken private voice lessons since they were 12 years old, all the way up until I was 27, it still stretched me in a new way that I didn't know I was capable of, which is cool to happen in your 30s, you know?
Yeah.
The first would be Janis Joplin, Beehive, which I love the show Beehive. It was a very special show anyway because the group of women got so close. Some of my best friends became close in that show. And when I was told I'd be playing Janis Joplin, I kind of had a quiet inside, don't let anybody see it, panic attack. Because I was like, I can't do that. No way. Cannot do it. But I did some research and really started listening to her music and came at it from the perspective of, okay, there's no way I can sound like her. But how can I make my voice tell the story of her and evoke the same emotion and make the same pain come through? She was a very troubled woman. And I walked away from the process very proud. I mean, sometimes you walk away from a show and you're like, it was good. But I walked away with actually a feeling of pride because I was like, I did the best possible job I could have done. The tie for that would be Spamalot. Same thing. There was just vocal challenges in that show. And the improv section that the director fully gave me full reign, never tried to tell me what to do or tell me what to say during the improv Vegas section of the show, gave me complete artistic liberty to change it every night, which is terrifying. But it was so fun and so rewarding, and to kind of fully let go and allow myself permission to fail. Here you are, you're given this kind of golden window to improv and change it every night, and you have permission for it to go off horribly. And that was so freeing, and it was wonderful. And then the vocally, that show really is not, riffing is not in my wheelhouse, honestly. And I kind of had to learn how to do it for the show.
Wow. Now, Stephanie, you have scenic designed a couple of lyric shows. Same question. What is your favorite show that you have, you feel the most proud about your scenic work? And then also your favorite show in lyric history?
Probably my most proud scenic work would be in Warpaint. That was just a really fun... Susan Reed and I really had a lot of fun talking about the show and kind of creating this backdrop that, because we go to 1,000 locations like most of these shows do. Mm-hmm. And so trying to figure out how we accomplish that with, the limitations that we have and how we can, tie that into this, these strong women and kind of tie it all together. So that was one of my favorites.
Cleverly done with your design. In the show, it's about these two rival cosmetic companies, these women, and in your design, you had like hidden lipsticks and little makeup brushes hidden all over the set. It was brilliant.
Yeah, because we talked about having kind of like Art Nouveau, Art Deco around the time period in part of the show. And part of the fun of that design is like the repetition and just having, creating patterns. So we decided to create our own pattern and kind of have those hidden gems in the pattern that we created.
Yeah. And what's your favorite lyric show?
Probably also the first show that I worked on was Thoroughly Modern Millie. I did props for that show, and that was just a fun I love tap. I just think it's so fun.
Yeah.
And I took tap as a kid, but I would never be able to do that level of tap. But I always love it.
Oh, did y'all hear that? It must be Susanna!
So recently, Stark's new favorite thing is to open up all the cabinets in the kitchen. So one day I'm going to get something out of the fridge, and I hear this weird tap, tap, tap. And I'm like, what on earth is that? And so I'm looking around, and I see part of the cabinet moving, and I open it up, and Stark was running out like a ghost was after him. He'd been in there for about 5 to 10 minutes.
So, if there is a dream show you could produce, either of you, let's take COVID aside. Let's take restrictions aside.
Budget? Take
Yeah,
budget
can I-
aside?
I was gonna say
Budget
budget.
aside.
Yeah, let's give them unlimited money.
Now, what would be a dream show that you would love to see the Lyric produce?
I've always loved and wanted to do Kiss Me Kate. It's a cute show that I grew up watching, watching that. And so that's a show I've always wanted to. I don't know if that's like my top
Yeah.
bucket list show, but
Well, there's just so many. And if budget isn't a thing, and then you're going, well, what is this from the perspective of, like, what show would my audience like to see the most? Because then, as overdone as you think it is, they would go crazy for a Hello Dolly. That wouldn't necessarily be my
Your-
personal
yeah.
favorite. So
Yeah.
then it's like, is it the one I want to produce? Or is it the one that I feel like my audience would most like to see? And also, in this no restrictions world that we live in,
Okay.
are we allowed to make changes to the script for things
For current times.
for things that are
Yeah.
just, there's so many beautiful pieces of work, and the licensing companies have been kind of they're not making some changes to make things not offensive. And there's some beautiful, to me, the most beautiful score in the musical theater canon is Carousel from Rodgers and Hammerstein. But it's such a complicated show, and there's some simple adjustments that could be made to it, and it would still be a beautiful show, but without a man slapping his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'd say yes. Let's take off those restrictions.
Well, then for me, Carousel.
Okay.
For me, Carousel, that score, just blow out that orchestra pit, because if we're talking like no.
Oh, yeah.
we're talking no budget, it's
Talking
full
like
orchestra.
Boston Pops.
We're talking, blow out that orchestra pit and the most gorgeous starscape, a real carousel, and whatever it is. I feel like that's another one of those shows that it was actually the first musical I was ever in when I was 14. It will always have that. That music will always mean something. I remember standing on the other side of the main, that first night that we had a full orchestra, and it was like, what is happening right now? I've never felt this feeling before. This is very overwhelming. And so that music is attached to a specific memory and kind of a spark in me that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, how exciting! Oh, yay! I look forward to the day that the Lyric does Carousel. With the Lyric, what makes the Lyric special to you?
When I talk to the patrons, which again is one of my favorite parts about this position, is much more than when I was an actor. I get so much interaction with our patrons in a way that you would just never get being an actor, being in a show. And when they give their feedback, there's an overwhelming sense of, I needed that. I didn't know I needed that. There was one time a woman came to see Shrek, and she called me. I wasn't even the artistic director at that time, but I was the one she could get on the phone. And she talked for like half an hour, and now we've become, friends. She'll call me all the time. She'll send me little letters. But she said, I wasn't going to see Shrek. I was going to give my tickets away because I thought, this is a kid's show. She said, I had no idea how much I needed to see that show. I was so happy. I cried. It was way more relevant than I thought any musical theater based on a cartoon movie could be. And that is a reoccurring theme when I talk to patrons, especially our subscribers who keep coming back and back. We have subscribers who've been Lyric subscribers since 1980. And the reason they keep coming back is they need a place they can go to feel light, to, I don't want to say escape, but isn't that one of the reasons theater was created to begin with?
Yeah.
And whatever's going on in the world and whatever's going on in their life, they know they can walk in the door, they're going to be greeted with a friendly face, a smile, and they're going to sit down and just get to enjoy life, enjoy people expressing beautiful emotion, enjoy people showing their talents and their skills, and the room and the energy is comforting, and it's encompassing.
Right. That's beautiful. How about you, Stephanie?
Yeah, I think it's the great thing about musical theater is that kind of escape and that magical quality that, you know. So I think just being able to come and you know, escape and enjoy being taken away for a few hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, let's be real. The two of you are the faces of your company. I mean, so you get the most interactions with your patrons, and so 600 times, 12 performances. That's a lot of people, and yeah, to get that much interaction, that much connection with someone. And you're right. It's not just theater, but entertainment is an escape. That's why we go to movies and watch TV at night and stuff. And it's what people need. And I think especially after this quarantine, it's what people will really want. So speaking of this quarantine, what are you looking forward to after this pandemic passes?
Shopping like a normal human again, you know, just kind of being, out in the world, not just staying at home all the time.
The everyday things that we took for granted.
Yeah, like just
things.
a Target run of, even when I didn't need anything and walking through Target and spending too much money. Like, my bank account is thankful for that right now, but, like, I miss it.
Right. I want to send my son to school without, he's a 4-year-old, which means they touch everything, they hug everything. The second you say, don't touch, they're hugging and giggling, and so I want to be able to send him to school without being worried.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. We can't wait. And our first episode, I'm not going to rehash on it, but like our first episode, we talked about our reopening strategies and what we're looking forward to in the theater. And we're all looking forward to reopening. Oh my goodness. Like, just give us something to do and give us actors and technicians and staff just something, like a purpose in life again.
Yes, that's exactly it. I feel like all of our purpose has been taken away. It's like everything whether you're fresh out of college or you're someone who's been doing this for 40 years, it's what our kind of identity has been tied to. And so it's kind of just, what do we do now?
Exactly. So lastly, let's talk about the future of theater. What advice would each of you give to young artists, to children who are looking to pursue the arts?
Before I was in this position, I worked in musical theater education for 15 years. And anytime I was working with anyone who was about to be pursuing college or doing college tours, I always told them, and their parents would be like, but they would be kind of upset. Theater, even if you make it to what our industry considers the highest level, Broadway, is not a forever thing. It's a gig, and it will expire. Have something else that you are passionate about, not as a fallback, but to do at the same time. And I know for me in my 20s, that was makeup artistry. It's something that I love, and honestly, I would go back to it in a minute. I love it so much. But have something that you can do at the same time that you are good at, that you are also passionate about. And if you have the ability, double major if it's within your, capabilities. Because theater, it's all gig to gig. It doesn't matter what position you're in. Even for me, it's not an indefinite, it's not my company. I was still hired into this position. So nothing is a guarantee forever in theater. So always have some kind of plan for some other thing that's going to feed your soul.
That's great advice. How about, what say you, Stephanie?
I would say, like, my background is actually in teaching college students. I used to teach out at University of West Georgia. So something that I would always tell them is which I struggled with, as well as to get out there and meet people and don't just wait for opportunity to come to you. I've been lucky that I've had a lot of opportunities kind of come my way, but that's not always the case, and that wasn't always the case. So, take opportunity when you see it. Go out and meet people. Go, designers, assist others, find designers you like, and just say, hey, can I shadow you, or can I assist you, or whatever. When you're early in your career and you can do that, you make those connections, and you learn a lot. Like I learned a lot from assisting too, and doing things, but you also get to meet some of the people who can help to get you those jobs later on as well. So it's about feeding your knowledge and your ability, because designers approach things differently too. A lot of times, I don't, as a senior designer, until I was a company manager, I didn't really work with other senior designers. I would see other shows, or I would, but like, there's a lot to learn from how other people approach shows and how other people do things. So being able to kind of increase your circle and your knowledge.
That's great. Well, thank you both for coming on Jennie T Radio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is going to wrap up our segment for interviewing one of our renters. The Lyric does 5-6 shows with us a year. We collaborate with them. They have collaborated with our camps. Yeah, we're always happy to have the Lyric in the building. Y'all are welcome back anytime after we open for
When we're allowed to.
Yes, when we were allowed to produce theater again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.